All right, we ready? Dun 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 dun. Wow! Connectors, what's up? DK here. Hope you're having a great day. It is Tuesday, January 17th. We are just a few days away from an inauguration, from getting a new president sworn in, the start of a new era. Trump45 starts in a couple days. Now hang on before you click away from this video. This will not be a video talking about politics or if you voted for Trump, if you like him, if you don't like him, if you're a Clinton fan, if you're a Bernie Sanders fan. This isn't about the politics and this isn't about the game of the election. This is simply saying a new era starts. And what does it mean to the nonprofit sector? Because it means a lot. Now, of course, changes like this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the fact that it's a Republican or that it's Trump as an individual, as a celebrity, a personality. This simply says that when there is a changeover and there is a new administration coming in, if policies are now adapted to that person's pledges during the election cycle or personal beliefs or background, things are going to change, and they're going to change, then you have to be prepared for it as an organization. So let's take a couple examples. What do we have to get ready for? Here we go. Now, one of the first places that we might see some change that may affect the nonprofit sector is in the tax code. Now, there is inside the tax code now incentives for people to donate to charity. And the worry is currently in the reforms that President-elect Trump is talking about, he's expected to reduce those incentives, and therefore there might be a fall off in donations. President-elect Trump has said he'd lower marginal tax rates, raise the standard deduction, and cap itemized deductions. So all of those things together most likely means less money going to charities. The folks over at the Tax Policy Institute recently did a report that said that individual donations in 2017 may go down up to 9% in 2017. And in real money, that's $26 billion, which is a major hit to the nonprofit sector and something that has to be considered when planning moving forward, that if individual donations go down, individual donations, by the way, the number one way that charities and nonprofits receive funding, that's a big number and needs to be considered now. Now, to be fair, proponents of this tax plan for President-elect Trump would suggest that if you do these tax cuts, there's more of an incentive for individuals to give because more money would be kept in your pocket. But the truth is that when this has been done before, historically, there hasn't been a significant uptick in individual donations. Another big part of the Trump administration planning, at least for public policy, is discretionary spending from the federal government side. A huge amount of discretionary spending cut over the next decade. Things like education, scientific research, national parks, all of these things are up for grabs when you talk about a budget discretionary spending reductions. And a lot of that is done through the work of the federal government working with nonprofit organizations. So a lot of nonprofits are thinking about their budgets now. Of course, we haven't even mentioned the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, and the change to that could affect not only nonprofits in terms of the healthcare field of the nonprofit sector, but also nonprofits in general, how they are affording to pay for healthcare for their staff. And that alone might be the biggest thing that happens here in 2017. Nonprofits got to make a really serious strategic decision when it comes to healthcare for their staff with this change that is inevitable, or at least going to be pushed as hard as it is in 2017 against the Affordable Health Care Act. Another thing that is almost inevitable is the fact that when these things happen on the federal level, cuts to programming, discretionary funding cuts, that sort of thing, the burden of putting those services still into a community very often falls on the nonprofit sector. So you can see already that if there are these federal level programs that are being cut, that'll move into the states affected the same way. So the federal budget gets cut, state budgets have to adjust, state spending gets cut, and then it comes down to local, same thing. Nonprofits very often are at the bottom of this discussion chain, and they are the ones that have to say, well, the services are needed. We still have to do this. So we have to find a way to move forward and give these services to our community. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's a burden of good because it's exactly the work that we do, but it's a burden of of scope and of capability, because now a homeless shelter that handles 100, 200 men and women might be asked to do 300, 400. And it might happen just like that overnight. So when services, discretionary funding, spending on a federal and state level start to decrease at a sudden change of policy, very often that comes down the line into the nonprofit sector, and then we are the ones that are actually having to put the burden of making those services possible, and at the same time operating at a very strong level and fiscally trying to bridge the gap, find that delta between now how many people need these kind of services and what we can actually do in terms of capability. Man, this is a total downer video. It's not supposed to be that bad. It's not that bad. Look, in talking of things like this, it's not Chicken Little. This is not a sky is falling kind of thing. This is simply to say to nonprofits, these are the things we need to think of. And we know are coming. We can see it. It's coming. So we have to be prepared for everything. So this simply is a call out to nonprofits to say, in your strategic planning, you better be doing some strategic planning. In that strategic planning that you're doing, you have to take time to think of what's happening on a public policy national level, moving it down to the state level and then to your local level. If you don't have this as part of your strategic planning, I highly recommend you add to this right now. It's not enough just to look at your budget, your programming, your fundraising, and just work the numbers and start saying, okay, this is what we're going to do this year. This is one of those times when you really should take pause and think to yourself, this is what's going to come. How does this affect us moving forward? It's like a dear friend of mine used to say, there are three types of leaders. There are those leaders who look down, focus on the work, get things done. Second part of leadership. Those that look down, they do the work, but they look up every so often and they see what's coming. They look and see it, but then they're back down trying to do the work they could do. And the third type of leader, they are in the myth. They're looking down. They're doing the work. They look out. They see the future that's coming. And they stand up and they meet it halfway there. They move themselves toward the future. The future's coming now. There's a new administration. There are new policies about to be set. This is the time for us to set forward and see what we can do. There we go. A little more positive. Nonprofit power! Look, on 3 days in January 20th at 12 noon, a new president comes in, new administration comes in, and this is happening. So we can either whine and cry, we can celebrate and be blind, we can go either way on the spectrum, but things are changing. So get with your staff, get with your board, get with your stakeholders, get with your community, get ready for what's coming. Because with everything that's happening, that will happen, there's always a silver lining. There's always somewhere in there that can find the positiveness of it. We just have to take the time to do it with nonprofit power. So guys, I'm going to end it right there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like what you see here, make sure you like and share this video and send it out all over the interwebs. I would greatly appreciate it. Save Ferris. If you dig what we do and you want to learn more, please check us out here on Facebook, facebook.com/Connect the Dots Movement. Be sure you like us there and invite others to check it out, especially your nonprofiteer friends. Also follow us on Twitter when you get a second at WeConnectDots. Get us questions or comments and we'll follow up with you there. If you want to talk to me directly and if you'd like to have an initial consultation with you, your leadership, your board, your nonprofit organization in general, shoot me an email right here, doug@connectthedotsmovement.org. I will get back to you in 24 hours. Pinky swear. And yeah, maybe we'll connect up, do some work together, or just chat. Just buy me a Diet Coke. I'll buy you a coffee. Things will be good. So nonprofiteers, thanks so much for hanging out with me again. I certainly do appreciate it. My name is DK, and you have just been connected. Thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon. That, as they say, is a wrap. Hey, one more thing. If you are in Pennsylvania, York County, City of York, or the surrounding communities, if you're interested, I'd love to invite you to a new podcast I'm a part of with a dear friend of mine, Adam McAllister, of a great company called McAllister & Myers. So connect the dots, McAllister & Myers, Adam and Doug, we are bonding, we are connecting up for a new podcast. It's called What the York. It's all about York County, South Central PA. We're talking about the community building, great organizations, events, people, places, the whole thing. So if you want to check it out, here's some information on it. Also, I'll send it in the doobly-doo below. But go check it out. We did our first podcast last week. It was episode 0 was the first one. This week we're going to be broadcasting live from Ironic, which is a great store in downtown New York. And you definitely got to check them out. Steven and David are awesome, and they're going to be on. They're also going to be our featured interview. So we're going to talk about their business and what they do at Ironic, and most importantly, what do they do around the surrounding community to make our community great. So it's really cool. Check it out. What the York, and it's hashtag What the York as well on social media, Facebook and Twitter. Okay, that's it.